Everybody, Coach Eric Broza here, and this is episode 2 of Broza Built. We're here again at the Dragon's Lair, and I have with me a good friend of mine, an up-and-coming NPC bodybuilder, and also he's going to be on my ambassador team for Spellbound Nutrition, which is going to launch at the end of the month. This is Jonathan Zare, and John's going to help me demonstrate some exercises today, because what I want to show you is I want to take 4 or 5 basic movements, and using an incline bench on each one, I'm going to show you a variation of this movement that perhaps you haven't seen or haven't done, and it's just going to be a different way to hit the fibers differently, hit the muscle differently, to give you something different to do that perhaps will stimulate some new growth. So we're going to get to the gym in just a second and get started, and hopefully you will learn something new today that you can use in your workouts. Okay, so the first movement that I want to show you is a basic close grip pull down. I'm going to have John do it in the basic form using good technique, and then after that I'm going to show you the variation using the incline bench, just to show you a different way to hit the muscle, like I said, different muscle fibers, and to get something new out of your workout. Okay, so he's going to do the basic pull down now. As you can see, he's using a close grip. He's sitting up straight. He's using a full range of motion. He's also going nice and slow, muscling it down. And this movement, when you're using a close grip, and every time you use a close grip on a lat pull down or a lat movement, you're generally hitting the belly of the lat. So you're going more for lat width, right on the outsides. So again, you can see full range of motion, stretching to the top, keeping the chest high, squeezing all the way down to the bottom, getting a good contraction. And that's how you do a basic close grip pull down. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the variation of the close grip pull down using an incline bench. Totally different feel to this movement. Let me show you how it's done. Okay, as you can see, we have an incline bench. It's set to maybe about 60 degrees or so. It's okay if it's a little bit steeper than that. You can change the angle and vary it. And as you can see, he's sitting down on the incline bench, and what he's going to do is he's going to let the handle stretch back up overhead. So that changes the angle of the stretch. It's almost like giving you slightly a pullover effect at the top. And as you can see, he's muscling it down. But if you're watching the trajectory of the cable, you could see that it's coming down at about the same angle of the incline bench. So instead of being a straight up and down movement, it's from the up and back, and then he's pulling down in front, and he's contacting just about the lower portion of the chest. Now, this is a really, really great movement because it gives you a very, very intense stretch at the top, really pulling hard on those lats, and the contraction at the bottom can certainly be felt. And it hits you right down in the lower portion of the belly of the lats. That's got to be a strict movement, full range of motion, full stretch, full contraction. This is an excellent variation on the close grip pull down. Okay, so for the second movement, what I want to show you is a strict barbell front raise, just doing them standing, like I said, using a barbell, about shoulder width grip. This is a very basic movement to hit the anterior or the front portion of the shoulders. Okay, so as you can see here, like I said, he's got about a shoulder width grip on the bar, which is basic. Of course, that could be varied a little bit wider, a little bit closer. As you can see, he's standing up straight. He's muscling the way to the top. This is just good, strict, basic form. And again, he's doing a nice, slow negative. And as you can see, he's also, when he raises to the top, as you'll see, he gets to the top, he's going to go to about shoulder width and no higher than that, because if you go too high, you can start to engage the traps, which we're not looking to do on this movement. So this is a basic barbell front raise, and now we're going to show you a different way to do it. Okay, now I'm going to have John show you a variation on the barbell front raise using an incline bench. Okay, so as you can see, he's leaning into the incline bench. The bench is set at about 60 degrees. Again, this is something that can be varied slightly. He has about a shoulder width grip on the bar. You can go even a little bit closer if you'd like to. But as you can see, he's using an underhand grip. Now, what the underhand grip does is it brings the elbows in a little bit closer to the body, which helps to isolate the anterior deltoids a little bit better than the overhand grip. Additionally, because he's angled forward on the incline bench, this actually increases the contraction at the top of the movement, so you get a much harder and complete and intense contraction at the top, which again is great for muscle growth. Another great variation on a basic movement. Give it a try if you need some more growth in the anterior deltoid. Okay, so the next movement, we're going to do a basic one-arm dumbbell row using the bench flat, and then of course we're going to show you another method of doing it on an incline bench to hit the muscle a little bit differently. But first, the basic motion. So as you can see, he's got his left leg and his left arm on the bench to stabilize his body. His right leg is back, using the right arm. He's using excellent form, full range of motion, stretch at the bottom, contraction at the top. The elbow is coming up even with his torso. And as you can see, he's also bringing the dumbbell back towards the hip, which is a great way to isolate the lats. Now I'm going to show you a way to do it on an incline bench, which isolates the lats even better. Okay, now I'm going to show you a one-arm dumbbell row using an incline bench to hit the lats a little bit differently. Okay, so as you can see, we have the bench angled. This is maybe about 45 degrees or so. As you can see, he has his body sort of, I could say he's to the left side of the bench because he's working the left arm, and this allows him to keep the dumbbell out of the way of the bench so it doesn't hit on the way up. As you can see, his right hand is wrapped around the bench, which helps to stabilize his torso. He's got his legs back behind him. And if you could see the way he's holding the dumbbell, he's got the dumbbell held all the way at the top of the dumbbell. This helps to tip the dumbbell backward, which makes the plane of motion angle back towards the hip. And again, when you're working the lats in this movement, you're isolating the lats as best you can, you want to pull back towards the hip. Because if he was pulling straight up, he'd be engaging too much rear delt, and we want to try to isolate the lats as much as possible. Now, if you're used to, say, doing a one-arm row in the basic way with about a 100-pound dumbbell, I would say you want to go about 60 to 70% of what you would normally use in a normal one-arm row, because this takes all cheating of momentum out of the movement. It's a stricter movement, but I can tell you it really, really isolates the lats very, very well. Okay, so next we're going to work the triceps with a basic straight bar push down. And then again, we're going to do a variation using the incline bench to hit the muscles a little bit differently than the standard version. Okay, so as you can see, he's standing up straight. He's got the elbows tucked in by the side of the body. He's letting the bar raise to about chest level. And when he hits chest level, he's muscling the weight down to full contraction at the bottom. I also want you to notice the placement of his wrists. He's not allowing the wrists to bend up. He's keeping the wrists straight so the hands are in the same plane as his forearms. And this is the exact perfect way you want to do a basic straight bar push down. Okay, so now I'm going to have John perform a basic push down using the incline bench for a different feel on the triceps. Okay, so as you can see, he's positioned facing into the incline bench. Again, we're set 65 degrees maybe. And as you can see, he's pushing straight down until his elbows lock out. He's using the triceps to lock out. He's not forcing it down using the elbows. He's using the tricep, muscling it down to lock out. Again, you could see his wrists are straight. He's not allowing the wrists to bend backward, which can hurt the forearms and take some of the movement out of the triceps. And as he's raising it to the top under control, you can see he's coming to just about the top of the bench, which allows him to put a stretch on the triceps before he begins. A lot of people make it a shorter, choppier movement to use more weight, but you really want to make sure you get that full range of motion and that stretch at the top. So again, stretch, pushing down under control, locking out and squeeze. And just this slight variation of leaning forward will hit slightly different muscle fibers and different motor unit pulls and just give you a different way to affect the triceps. Okay, finally something for the lateral deltoids. We're going to do a basic cable side lateral, one arm at a time, and then again, the version using the incline bench. Okay, so he's grabbing the low cable, standing up straight, and he's raising out to the side very, very strictly. As you can see, His torso is not moving at all. The only action is coming from the lateral of the side delt. His arm is not completely straight. There's a very slight bend in the elbow to protect the elbows. He's raising up to shoulder level because he just wants to work the lateral deltoid. If he raises up any higher than that, the trapezius will come into play. Good strict movement, full range of motion, holding the top for 1 second, and down to the bottom, and that is how you do the basic cable single arm side lateral. Okay, John showed you the basic version. Now we're going to show you an incline single arm side lateral, which is going to hit the shoulder in a completely different way. I think you'll really enjoy this movement. Okay, so we have the incline bench. You can really vary the angle on this. I have it probably about, I'd say 35 to 40 degrees here. You can go a little bit higher, a little bit lower, see what feels better. As you can see, he has his body angled to the side, and he's got his feet in a position to help stabilize his torso. And as you can see, as he lowers to the bottom, he's not going to let his arm quite touch his body because he wants to keep constant tension on the shoulder. As he raises to the top, he's going to pull just above what would be the standard side lateral, because we actually will get a better contraction at the top in the lateral deltoid if we lift just about an inch higher than we normally do. But you really want to focus on not getting that extra inch with the trapezius. You want to focus on making the side deltoid get that little extra inch contraction. As you can see, he's using a slow pace on the movement to the top because he wants to muscle the weight. He doesn't want to throw it. He holds the top position for 1 second to get that contraction, and then a good slow negative to make sure that he's damaging some of those muscle fibers, which will have to be repaired to grow bigger. This is definitely not a movement you're going to use a lot of weight in. It's going to be a very light movement, but trust me, once you hit about 12 to 15 reps on this one, you're going to get a major burn in the side deltoid, which is going to help you get wider up top. A great movement to give a shot. Hey guys, Coach Eric Broser again. I hope that you guys enjoyed those variations on the movements using the incline bench. I just love people to, get out of a program that they use for so many years. A lot of people use the same movements over and over and over again. They never change angles, they never change grips, and they get stagnant. So these kind of changes to movements can really add a new dimension to your physique and to your training. But what I want to do here is I want to actually answer a question that I get all the time. So every once in a while I'm going to throw, frequently asked questions at you guys. And of course, you guys are welcome to email me at bodyfx2@aol.com. And if you have any questions you want me to answer. But one of the questions I get is about creatine quite a bit. And it's usually, how do I use it? Do I need to cycle it? How long do I cycle it? That type of thing. So my basic answer to creatine is, number one, this is still, even though it's been around for over 30 years now, it's probably still one of the best, if not the best, natural supplement to use for bodybuilding and strength purposes. I personally use something called Crealkaline, which is made by All American EFX Sports, and it's just a great form of creatine. But the standard creatine monohydrate is also an excellent form. I just find that the Crealkaline actually works on my stomach a little bit better. It's a little more comfortable. So in terms of creatine, listen, you do not have to cycle creatine if you don't want to, although I have found in all my years of doing this with hundreds of clients and with myself that I actually find that I get more benefits out of creatine if I do cycle it. So what do I mean by cycling? I basically mean using creatine for about 16 straight weeks and then taking a 4-week break. I just find that if you keep using creatine continuously for years, that you don't really seem to get benefits, adding as time goes by. I feel like if you cycle, you actually, you get the benefits for 16 weeks, you go off for about 4 weeks, and then when you go back on again, I feel like there's an extra boost. That's what I've found. That's what a lot of my clients have found. I'm not going to say that there's any kind of science on this because I don't know if there's been any studies about cycling versus not, but this is what I've found. Basically, how do you use it? When you start, I do recommend a loading period because a loading period will just saturate the muscles a little bit more quickly. Basic loading period, use about 20 to 25 grams for about 5 straight days, doing 5-gram doses, maybe 5 times a day. And then after that, you can literally drop back to about 5 grams a day. I recommend if you're not training that day, take it first thing in the morning with your first meal. If you are training, then take it post-workout, 5 grams with a carbohydrate meal. and that will keep your muscle saturated throughout the entire cycle. So that's the basics on creatine. I think cycling works better. It's not a health thing. You can stay on creatine for as long as you want if you wish to, but I have found with my clients and with myself that cycling creatine works better than using it for years at a time. So hope that helps you guys out, and look forward to seeing you guys on the next show.